My name is Sholpan Karzhaubaeva. I'm a pediatrician by training, but now I work in public health sphere. For example, we open centers to organize events involving not just one teenager, but a lot of them. Such activities can cover a town or region or the whole country. As for our youth health center, if you come there, first you go to the reception. Our nurse, Veronica, meets teenagers, their parents or friends, and explains what specialists can see them and what they need to visit a certain doctor. She creates a friendly environment to help a teenager who is scared and doesn't know where they are to feel comfortable. As soon as they're met at the reception by her, they feel at home in the center and realize it's a place where they are welcome. This is a place where teenagers wait until a specialist invites them. It's very important that we have notice boards giving information about dominant topics here. They explain how to protect oneself from HIV, inform about healthy relationship and contraception. You can find out from our leaflets what happens to a teenager when they visit a specialist. We are often asked if our service is provided free of charge by government. Of course, we always answer that the State City Center for Human Reproduction is a public organization and teenagers are provided with all the services free of charge here. I clearly remember a scene from my childhood. Well, probably wasn't early childhood, but I have vivid memories of a strong desire to be a surgeon. I was a third former then, and it was like a fixed idea. I drew myself only in doctor scrubs. I remember a scene from my childhood which sticks in my mind. As a rule, my colleagues and I are asked on the medical worker day why we chose this job. When I'm asked this question, I recall that I did it because I always wanted to help people. When I studied a medical profession, it was considered prestigious. You had to make an effort and study hard to enter a medical university. A doctor was a highly respectable member of society. I remember that my parents never said, "Daughter, maybe you shouldn't enter a medical university." Everyone was happy. I mean, my family and schoolmates approved of the choice I made, and it confirmed that my intentions were right. I didn't work as a doctor long. Nevertheless, I want to say that I started dreaming to be a scientist when I was a student. You know, I enjoyed the smell of books. I liked the atmosphere in the library. Probably it was a youthful high spirits, but I believed that a lot would depend on my research and I would make a great contribution to medical science. When I was given an opportunity to do science, I was happy to take it. I got my PhD and then defended my thesis for a doctor's degree. You know, my PhD thesis was about young children. I'm a pediatrician and this topic was close to me. While my doctoral thesis was about adolescents and young people. After I defended my thesis for a doctor's degree, our famous Professor Kuljanov said, "That's all. You finished dealing with young children. Finished studying teenagers and young people. So it's time to grow up." It was my initiative to open the center. I told myself that it should be opened and talked about to my friends and partners I worked with. I said to them that probably there was a necessity to open research center, training center to share experience we had, to help specialists improve their skills, especially if they had just graduated but had a strong desire to work with adolescents. Initially, it was planned to open the center as a center, not an ordinary youth health center, but one which would help other centers of the country develop both professionally and methodically and teach how to work with teenagers and young people. Probably I always experience it myself because my youngest daughter is a teenager. She has recently turned 18. It was really surprising to encounter some difficulties in relationships. It seems easy to give advice to other parents, but you find it difficult when you don't know what to answer your own adolescent child, because all children are different in the same family. I like working with them a lot because all of them are different. They are really honest. They show sincere emotions and don't lie. So you start to control what you say and how you say it to a greater extent. They are uncompromising people, so they don't forgive if you're in a bad mood or the wrong phrase you said. Anyway, it doesn't mean that I have to pretend when I'm with them. For example, they won't like it if I wear a certain mask when I'm with my family, then put on another one when I'm with my colleagues, and when teenagers come, I wear a smile and pretend that I'm equable. Such behavior is unacceptable. I think that being sincere is probably the most appropriate way, and it doesn't refer only to working with teenagers. Now, a lot of people say that they aren't children any longer, but aren't adults either. In this way, we emphasize that they're a special group and this fact should be recognized. They really aren't children, but aren't adults either. Adults should help them to grow up properly. I completely disagree with those who say that adolescents are our future. I like when they say, "Why are you always talking to us referring to the future? We live now and have wishes now. We are your present." It's the reason why we must understand what category we work with. This category experiments a lot and wants to understand what life tastes like. They distance themselves from the concept of childhood, especially when a child is told not to go somewhere because it's dangerous or not to touch something because it's painful. They want to try everything themselves, even if it will be painful and dangerous. The main task for us adults is to understand that the pattern of behavior we establish for a teenager will account for 70% of the adult's behavior. It means that if you explain to a teenager about responsible attitude towards reproductive health and tell them about safe sex, they will adhere to these principles in the future. We must understand that if we take a look at the causes of death among adolescents, we'll see that the mortality due to external causes is in the first place. They include road traffic accidents and suicides. If we look into the specifics, it becomes clear that it's exactly what we should do, and it was listed among the main directions of our center. They include reproductive health care sphere, mental health sphere, and development of healthy lifestyle skills. They don't have enough knowledge. Less than 50% know that using a condom prevents an unwanted pregnancy and protects against sexually transmitted diseases. According to this research, the age of sexual debut is 16.5, while they get married at the age of 26. So roughly speaking, they spend 10 years not having stable sexual relationship. In this case, it's necessary to consider safe sex, but they don't know about it. Only a third of adolescents use contraception. Our task is first to inform them about all the risks and second, to teach them. As a result, they will be taught and know about the risk and what results it may lead to. Although it may not put their life at risk, it may damage their health, both at present and in the future. We should provide more information, and not in the form of boring lectures, but in the form of interactive training when we role play together with them. We did the last role play during activity training. You know, very often when we give training for prevention of unwanted pregnancy, we gather only girls, although I don't know why. We gather girls and explain to them what they should do to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Why do we forget that both partners' activity leads to pregnancy? So where is the guy? When a girl becomes pregnant, why is she the one who is condemned, and why all the sharp remarks are directed at her? Where is the young man? It's the reason why we try to invite young men and girls to participate in a role play. We explain to them that both partners should be responsible and look after their health. We explain what the girl feels if she gets pregnant and what enormous pressure is exerted on her by close friends, teachers, and family. You know, I'm always touched and surprised by young guys' attitude, although they say that the girl should care about it herself. The last 2 trainings convinced me that if you keep talking to young men, they will be able to better understand the girl. The problem is that their family members do not talk to them about it. I don't know why, but it's a taboo subject at schools too. It's good that specialists of youth health centers have an opportunity to talk to them now. When I ask them if they need it, they answer that they do. They're eager to participate in such trainings. There are youth-friendly clinics all over the world, in many countries. A necessity to open the center arose in Kazakhstan too. Why did it happen? Because adolescence is a very difficult period of life. Of course, having lived this period of life too, you understand that young people in our country definitely need help in reproductive health care. Why not every doctor can work here? Because there is a prevailing opinion that a doctor never has time. Thus, if an adolescent or young person comes with their problem, they need a specialist who has considerable skills in this sphere, who can understand them and can explain everything to these young people and answer their questions in a language they understand. Sholpan is one of the specialists. First, she is a pediatrician by training. Second, I've known her for many years and she always wanted to open such a center and work for it. A teenager mainly comes here not to talk about a disease, but because they need a consultation. Thus, they need to trust you. To help them trust you, you need to talk to them in such a way that they could confide in you and tell you about the problem they hide from others. Not every adult person is able to convince them to share their problem.
Эту проблему наружу не каждый может сделать это взрослый человек.
Fortunately, I can work with teenagers now. We have a volunteer club. Teenagers see us, consult us, receive trainings. I've got an opportunity to tell them that everything is in their hands, including their life, their destiny, and their career. They just need to feel a sense of responsibility towards their health and remember that it was always like this, not only now. Health is a very important aspect of successful life, and you shouldn't delay taking care of it. Our volunteers prove that the situation can be changed. It happens when they start giving explanation to teenagers, talking to them as equals. They explain what it can lead to, what they can do, and how they can change the situation. After holding some event, we often have a conversation. We gather and discuss what they liked and what they didn't. I ask how working with teenagers helps them. You know, I had no idea that working as a volunteer, treating everyone as equal, provides so many opportunities. It means that they used to underestimate their skills. I think it often hurts when people don't take it seriously. It hurts when your colleagues have such an attitude. They may ask, "Haven't you finished playing yet?" Often they do not take it seriously. What can I say about it? I fulfilled my deepest wish, and you know, when your wish comes true, you're filled with pure happiness. So I try not to hear such comments. However, when colleagues whose opinion is important to me say something like this, I feel offended at the beginning. Now I've reached a level when I don't try answering or presenting arguments, showing the importance of my work. I understand that they need time to understand it.